Luke chapter 18, to me, is the most amazing description of our current times. Actual word of Jesus Christ. It talks about, first, the corrupt judge. Every video that I've done, I've tried to awaken the judges of our current laws. We have made laws above God's laws. These laws come down from high places and wealthy people, forced upon us, to the point that we are drilled in by television drama. These laws are normal. And then all of a sudden, we've lost track of what Jesus Christ said. It talks about the judge will rule in a woman's favor because she is wearing him down. Let's define why Jesus used woman in this parable. Who bit from the apple? A woman. Who was tempted by the serpent? A woman. In today's world, who are ruling when they should be taking care of the children? Women. Women were placed in the workforce by the global elite because they knew that the women would bite from the apple. This is why he used women in the parable. The judge is not being worn down by a woman. He is being worn down by the serpent, the apple. The woman is just a code. When I teach that you have to read the Bible by code, you have to interpret the Bible based on knowing the enemy. If you don't know the enemy, then how do you interpret the Bible? Then you automatically think that Jesus meant woman. He didn't mean woman. He meant the apple, the temptation, nothing else, nothing more. This is what this parable meant. The woman was wearing him down. Women belong in a certain place on this earth where they're magnetism, and the men are the energy. And these are our places. Women teach the left hemisphere of the brain to the children. The men teach the right, and they both teach the heart. This is the meaning of a man and a woman. The men work, the women tend to the children, they raise the children. This is the place that our Father has created. We are not black widows that eat the husband, because that's what a black widow does. After she's finished with him, she devours him. This is what our court system has become. The judges and the lawyers say, revenge him, seek and destroy his life. There is a media event called War on Men. There is an actual war on men. That's why men are incarcerated in prison, because they're the brave-hearted fighters of the planet. That's why men's lives are being destroyed and their jobs are being taken by the women, giving them no reason to fight for anything. Every war, women, you cannot deny that the men fought the wars, not the women. This is our role in life. We are tyranny fighters. We are protectors of our children. It was our role. Your role is to nurture. Our role is to protect. These globalist elite are taking the ability for a man to protect. They're incarcerating them. They're destroying them in the courts. They're stealing their jobs. They're stealing their meaning of life. And then Jesus says, well, if you unjustly rule by convenience or by man's laws, then you've lost sight of your Father. This is exactly what's happening today. In our current world, we have women that are seeking vengeance upon men. I know, I went through it several times. Both wives sought vengeance. One used the courts slightly, but she used her word of mouth to slander and to tell lies. And the other used the court system. She was in bed, so to speak, with the judge and the prosecuting attorneys, the district attorney. She was in bed with the police and the lawyer. She did what they call gang stalking and married me in order to steal money. And I would imagine they all shared in the glory. I even have a credit card statement that showed a lawyer receiving $6,040 off of my credit card after there was a protection order on both of us that we cannot touch each other's accounts. This is really going on today. Not only have I experienced it, I have several friends. I read about it online. The court systems are tearing apart the families. There is a term called gang stalking. This is how they're sucking people dry that have success in their life. And it's very real. Private corporations from the CIA are hiring individuals, neighbors of people, to basically deem them crazy, harass them, to the point to where they have no job, no career. They can't even sell anything online. They can't do anything. They're stuck. And they want them to just literally go insane. But what's so amazing is a lot of them are turning to the Lord. And they're realizing they don't need to be connected to society in order to be happy. I know I will testify to that. There is no question in my mind that I've never been as happy as I am. Even though I've lost literally every friend, because these private corporations go to your friends and they tell them, don't talk to him or don't do this. And the weak-minded friends, the fearful ones, they obey the masters. And they believe these fictional records that they create. Because when the CIA and the banks and the upper echelons of life, they control your credit report, your work history, they even control the court. And this is what Jesus Christ was talking about, the corrupt judge. Now what's so amazing is the next parable is a story of a Pharisee and a tax collector. What is a Pharisee? Well, he's a high priest. So they both go to the mountain and they say, the Pharisee says, well, look, Jesus, what I have done for you with my glorified money. I have done this, and therefore I deserve to enter into the kingdom. To where the tax collector, he found God. He gave up his works as a tax collector, and he admitted to the Lord that, Lord, I have been a sinner all my life, and I have finally found the glorification, and I have committed my life to give up my tax collecting job and to devote it to teaching the truth. Teaching what I've learned from being in a corrupt world, and I will now teach what you want me to teach. Who do you think Jesus was more favored to at the end of this parable? The Pharisee, the high priest, today's popes. You can call them in the Mormon church the presidents, the bishops. Same thing, Pharisees. You'll find them in your charismatic church, head of the church, the pastors. These are the Pharisees of yesterday. You can change the name, but you don't change the definition. The last charismatic church I went to, I loved the music. The priest talked for 15 minutes about he just received $11 million. And he needs more money. For 15 minutes, I had to listen to him like a prostitute beg for money. And 11 million wasn't enough. Well, let me ask you a question. He puts himself above a prostitute? You see, ignorance doesn't mean that you're right. And if you don't see yourself as a prostitute, our modern day media, they feel like their job is to lie to the people. Every word out of their mouth, even the weatherman, is lying to you. They don't talk about chemtrails. They don't talk about geoengineering, weather modification, weather warfare. They don't show the chemtrail trails during the storms. They don't show the troughs that are being curved by HARP weapons. They don't show this stuff. This is ignorance to people. It is amazing as I go around and I see the people who don't know about chemtrails. They can't even look up in the sky. They're so void of Jesus Christ that they don't even look up at the clouds anymore. They're so busy with their work and their jobs and giving gifts to the kings every month and their house mortgages, car payments, buying things that they can't afford. As the kings tell you, a house is now worth $400,000. Well, no, it's not. It's worth about $2,000 because I can build everything in that home from the resources of the land if I just worked hard enough. And the construction of our homes are definitely poison traps. You've got smart meters with negative ground wires radiating you all day long. And if you do not conform to the agendas, they radiate you more than everyone else. You will age 10 years in no time. They will poison you to where you're not looked at as the Hollywood elite. You have no idea how much aging is in your home. We don't build homes of God anymore within the resonance of the earth. Caves, underground homes. I'm not talking a mile under the ground. I'm talking surface homes built, no need for air conditioning, that there's dirt and rocks above your home. It is built into the ground. This is how the Lord wants us to build homes. But we build homes of death. Gas, freon, insulation, fiberglass, plastics, paints, toxic chemicals, toxic carpets. Your bed separates you from the energies of the earth. The wires in your home separate you from God. If you understand your aura and the energies that you emit, as soon as you walk into the house, you are separated from God. You have to go to the mountains in order to receive the blessings of the gods, or outside and get on your knees and take off your shoes and ground yourself to the earth. We are energy beings and we connect to the earth. Everything that they're selling you is a lie. Now our judges and our Pharisees, which I call the modern day popes, fathers, prophets, our modern day presidents, bishops, our modern day pastors, these are Pharisees. These are the men that say, look, Lord, look what I've done. I've gathered the masses in my wealthy church. Instead of saying, Lord, I am a sinner. I have prostituted myself amongst the people and I've begged for money. And I've shielded them from the truth, just like the media. Capture them for you. I steal the truth from their minds. Lord, I am a sinner. I am part of the evil network that exists on this planet. And I was unaware. I'm going to leave the church and I'm going to go out amongst the people and teach real truth. And I will never ask for money. I will give it up to you, Lord, and you will provide. This is where we're at today. Either you give up your possessions or you live with separated from God. The rich have to give up their possessions and divide them equally amongst the people, or they will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, to me, the final chapter is the most strengthening chapter. This talks about the children. The title starts off with Jesus and the children, a rich man. Now what happened? The children were gathering to talk to Jesus, to receive his blessing. And the rich Pharisees, popes, modern day prophets, presidents, bishops, all these names within these leaders of these dictating churches that ask for money every day of the week. They said, no, let the children go play. This is the house for the adults. Separate the children from Jesus. Jesus said, if a child doesn't come to me as a child, then he will never come to me as an adult. Let the children come to me. Do not keep the children from God. If this doesn't describe our modern day education system where the Bible has been evicted, God is evicted. Our child daycares, the Bible has been erased. School systems, our colleges, erased. There is no God, no mention of God, no Bible in our education system. Well, this is all done by design by the Pharisees, the popes, the bishops, the president, the modern day prophets of today, the pastors. Are you not going to tell me that these men accept our education system into society, or they reject it? All the men that I've mentioned. Let's go to the Catholic Church. You have a pope. You have the stages of the pope. You've got the 12. You have the fathers within the churches. None of them stand united and say, bring the children in every facet of their life to God. They allow the education systems to separate the children from God. They allow this. This is part of their life. They do not get involved in politics, because politics is what separated the children from God. Now you tell me, is this a humble man, or is this an obedient servant to Satanism? If you separate God from the children, are you not telling me this is not Satanism? I don't know anything worse than separating your children from God. We don't even teach our children in our homes about God. Video games and the television is their deity, and they're taught to chase money from birth. This is Satanism on steroids. I have never seen so much Satanism in a child's life as I see today. And the men who try to bring their children to God, and they fight, and they argue, and they stand, well, those men are incarcerated and called violent offenders. And then they go through a divorce, and they're demonized by the court system, by the judges, by the corrupt judges. Now, I'm not saying all men, but I'm saying there are mostly men in the prison. And this is all done by design, because when you want to conquer a nation, and all the brave-hearted men are incarcerated, the ones who fought for their children, then you drone strike them. 1984, it was a book written. It talked about getting rid of the smart and brave-hearted men. The Road of Bones in Stalin, to get rid of the smart men. South Africa, rid of the smart, educated men first. This is what gang stalking is. Get rid of the people who stand with the Lord. So you gang stalkers that are reading banker records, court records, work histories, credit reports, all controlled by the masses. I know. I worked in media, and I worked for banks. I defended the people, and every time the people were correct. And the banks worked exactly like the court system. They wanted proof, knowing that they edited their credit report and demonized their credit report on purpose so that they can make more profits. This is their job, they seem to think. I would provide proof, and every single time the customer's word of mouth was right. Provided that for the banks, and they said, okay, now he cannot pay 40% interest, because time I add a $2,000 bank fee and charge them 25% interest, these people are enslaved. Every payment that they make is front-end loaded interest. This is criminal. Jesus said, do not charge interest. This is our society today. You police officers, why would you listen to a report on a computer over a man? These are your people. These are your brothers. You've been programmed all your life by the television that think that everyone is bad all around you. I tell you right now, God is in every human being on this planet. We have to surface and bring God back, not violently restrain them and imprison them. You notice there's no teaching of God in the prisons. Yeah, you might have a pastor come every once in a while and a preacher come every once in a while, but the real conformity is not happening. If you're going to imprison a man for doing wrong, then make him work, give him a job. He needs to work. He needs to give back to the community. This is part of his genetics. It's like taking a dog and locking it up in a cage, especially a working dog like a German Shepherd. You have to work the animal. It is genetically in its code to herd and to work. If you don't work the animal's mind is corrupted, and its children's are lazy, slothful, selfish, greedy, and they live in fear all their lives. I can see this with the dogs now. So at the end of this parable, it says, bring the children to me. Start the children off at birth, bringing them to Jesus Christ, to God, to the Heavenly Father. That doesn't mean bring them to a church that keeps truth away from the children. It means bring the children immediately. We don't do that in our civilization, and this is why we have nations rising against nations. We have people battling people. The whole ignorant realm of this evil dictatorship society, our presidents, our bankers, our oil tycoons, our pharma corporations, are to poison not only the body, but to poison the mind of the people, to keep them away from God. This gang stalking event is to attack individual people and make them literally incredible. Their credibility is shot. As soon as they open their mouth, the TV says these people are conspiracy theorists. Therefore, when the real Jesus Christ comes, they don't recognize him. Jesus laid down 144,000 men and women on this planet to prepare you for the coming. Here we are. We are compelled to teach the truth. I've given up $175,000 a year job. I've given up my wealth, my home, everything I have to teach the truth. I don't pay the banks any money. I try to give as least amount as I can to the kings, because I know that that money goes towards building armies against our children's children, to enslave them even more than you're enslaved now. If you don't believe you're enslaved, how come everything you make disappears at the end of the month? Everything you pay out goes towards the wealthy. It is chain linked, and I can show you how it connects directly to the same men that dictate your world. The same oil, pharma, and banking corporations of America. I don't care if you go to Walmart. I don't care what you do. That money goes towards these evil men. It is their sister corporation of Freemasonic, Bilderberg, Satanism. Control the people. Poison the people. Chemtrails. Poison the people. Nanotechnology being sprayed upon you to not only poison your body and your mind, but to really create toys from nano to nano communication with the wireless energies that surround you. They're dirty energies connecting on frequency. This is our future. We're going to live our entire life within the dirty energies of this earth that they've created. Digital television signals, radio signals, smart meters, smart appliances, your homes radiating, pumping dirty energy, satellite technology, beaming the energies into selected homes. This is our future. If you have God in your life, we will radiate you to death with dirty energy. We will surround your aura with this dirt, this satanistic energy, and separate you from God's energy. If you don't understand this theory, why did Jesus have a halo over his head? And in most statues, he had his heart in his hand. The heart emits its own magnetosphere. So does the body. So does the mind. Every organ emits its own magnetosphere, your chakra. And this dirty energy is like a virus feeding off of this godlike energy. Soon, we will transform into robotic soldiers of dark energy. I see the children transforming today. They have their cell phones so close to their face 24 hours a day, pumping those buttons, they are completely robotic. You call the globalist corporations, you have to go from one robot to the other robot to the other robot in order to get to a human being. Robots are what the corporations want. If you don't believe it, call and try to pay your bill with AT&T, with the symbol of Saturn, Satanism. Call your automotive franchises and see this robot answers the phone. And you have to go through the robot in order to get to a human being. And that human being is also a drone type, canned speech. They tell you the same thing. They are trained in a meeting to say the exact same thing over and over again. They are separating real love and humanity. This virus of dirty energies are eating away at the godlike aura. As we stand with the Lord and we tell the truth to the people, you're being fed upon. The virus is the cell towers. The virus is the digital satellite signals. The virus are the smart meters. They're all around you. Your home is a giant virus pumping device. All done by these satanistic globalists. They created this. And just because you can't comprehend it doesn't mean it's not true. The American Indians saw fire-breathing guns. Dragons is what they thought they were. Fire-breathing dragons killing us. They didn't know what a gun was. They had bows and arrows. And the fire-breathing dragon took over. Now some would try to say, we have to steal the fire-breathing dragons and destroy them in order to keep our land. And some would say, no, our bows and arrows will protect us. And there was a conflict. And the people wouldn't listen to the real enlightened ones, the awakened ones, who said, hey, we've got to sneak into their camps and destroy these weapons. Kind of like 6 billion people getting together, destroying the cell towers, fictional DC and AC currents that travel all over our planet, poisoning the planet, a network poison, when the energy that you need is free and it's flowing. That's why you see electricity in a storm. There is energy all around you, and Tesla created it, but these globalists decided to make a weapon with it instead of giving it away for free. The knowledge is there. The energy is free. God gave it to us. It belongs to us. Destroy these digital satellite signals, cell towers, satellites in our atmosphere, weapons of mass destruction, nuclear power plant. Why do you think they created it? They knew about free energy. They created a nuclear power plant so that they can bomb your city, and that nuclear radiation will leak amongst the people. And of course, they control, the Rockefellers control the medical industry, and all the oil companies control the pharma corporation, and they pill you to death, inject you to death, and cancer is up 5,000%. In children, autism 10,000% in children. You don't believe me when I tell you these dirty energies are eating away at the brain? They inject you with viruses and shots that influence these energies to weaken your immune system. Your immune system is an energy radiating pumping device. That's what your immune system is. That's what keeps you away from the common cold. Your aura, your energy field. You even have an acid mantle on your skin that eats away the viruses. And the soaps steal the acid mantle away. They know this stuff. Touch your face and the viruses attack and they seep in through the eyes. Wash your body. Cleanse it from the bacteria. It's all a lie. It is a trick. It is a deception. And this Bible, these phrases prove it. The judges are corrupt. They're dictating man's laws, not God's laws. Your prophets, your priests, your churches with money are all corrupt. They're hiding the truth from you. And their egos are off the charts. They're not humble men who say that they're just as much of a sinner. They are more of a sinner than you are, the ones who flock to the church. Why do you have men who live in more sin teaching the people with less sin? We have nothing but a world of weak, non-alpha leaders. God's leaders are being harassed, stalked, destroyed, demonized in the media, thrown in prison. When we speak out, they kill those people. When a Hollywood movie star or a singer decides to get a conscience and start singing about crying earth, it doesn't matter if you're black or white, or gospel music like Elvis. They kill those people through their serpents, strangling the tree of life, their symbols. Your deity is money with pyramids and eyes, owl horns, symbols all over them. Fold a $20 bill in half and you see 9/11 being exploded. A $5 bill, a $10 bill, they printed it on every bill to mock and show the world how ignorant we are. Our children are being separated from God from the school systems. Every entity that I mentioned you, the judges, the Pharisees, and your education systems are all separating the people from God. What are the people doing? Well, I went and talked to a friend yesterday that I thought was extremely intelligent. He literally kicked me out of his house, and he said that, Fred, that's just the way it is. I'm having a hard time finding anyone who can see that we need to take a stand on this planet. We have to take a stand and unite 6 billion people strong and say, hey, judges, you're wrong. These laws are not God's laws. Erase them. They have to go away. Hey, Pharisees, priests, judges, popes, you're keeping us from truth. Your ego is saying, look what I've done to Jesus, but you're not humble like the tax collector that gave up his wealth and gave it all away and said, Lord, I am going to devote my life to you. And the Pharisees, or the priests, or the popes, see themselves as teachers. They are not teachers. They are more sinful than the people who turn their lives to the Lord. Choose poverty instead of wealth like Moses did, and awaken consciously. These are our real leaders of this planet. Why are the people allowing the education systems to steal the Bible, the real history? The Bible is our history. It is the closest thing to truth about our history and our world that exists on this planet. And you have allowed them to take them out of our school systems. A teacher is fired if she brings a Bible to the class. We cannot allow this anymore. Luke chapter 18 tells us everything we need to know. It identifies exactly what I've been trying to tell you on every video that I've done. That there is an evil dictatorship controlling your judges, controlling your priests and your prophets and your fathers and your churches. They're controlling your school systems. The trinity of death. Laws, priests, and education. The trinity of death. We can no longer stand for this. We have to unite as one God-like conscience. You people that have seen the possessions being thrown away by the other people, throw them away. Turn off the TV. The TV is a propaganda channel. It is replacing the education system. It is the education system for our children. And it teaches the opposite of God and Jesus. You're not bringing your children to God when you turn on that television. You're separating them. If you don't understand good and evil, the light versus the darkness, if you don't know the enemy, then how can you teach it? All I'm trying to do is awaken the parents, awaken the children consciously, so that we'll unite and form a God-like heaven on earth planet together, a real nation of God. Not people who say, we're going to go kill people in the name of peace. Not Pharisees that walk up to the mountain and say, look what I've done with my wealth. Not judges who judge men and laugh and mock and throw stones when God says, do not judge. The only law are God's laws. If we taught the children at birth God's laws, there would be no need for police, judges, lawyers. Everything would be wiped out. If we shared, and if you had two coats and you gave one away, all the car dealers would go away. Once you're tired of your car, sell it yourself. Why do you have to go to the dictator dealers that are owned by the banks? The banks own every car dealership in America. They're tax collectors. They're monster tax collectors. I know. I worked in the business, in the banking side, and in the management side. The name on the building is a fictional name. It doesn't mean that he owns it. He does not own it. He doesn't even own the building. He doesn't own the cars. The banks do. And it stops you from trading your goods. I go to the local markets in the city, in the areas where they're trading their crops and their goods. And I have seen the glorification of the Lord within these organizations. People growing their own plants and gardens and going to market and sharing them. Real food, not sprayed with poisons or pesticides. Or see, the Walmarts are there so that they can poison the food and you flock to the poison. The markets where you share your crops and you trade your crops. There's something called a chicken swap where you swap your chickens to keep the bloodlines pure. This is what our world was meant to be. Trade, not a monetary system. The money system is completely corrupt. All we need is trade. Nothing else, nothing more. We don't need a bank. And when I'm telling you this, these three evil trinities will disappear out of your life. And once they disappear, you will finally be free as God gave you, and the planet will belong to the people, instead of the bank. All you got to do is get rid of these trinities in your life. Peacefully refuse to conform. If a man creates a law, like Hitler did, everything that Hitler did was legal. Everything Stalin did, legal. Everything Mao did, legal. These are these demons. Every one of these men that I mentioned were financed by these corrupt bankers. These world globalist elitist bankers. Oil tycoons. Sucking the planet dry and stealing all of Mother Earth's goods, like an alien invasion. If you ever want to see an alien invasion, go walk on an oil platform and you'll see them sucking Mother Earth dry. Go to a copper mine or a gold mine or a silver mine and see them sucking Mother Earth dry, stealing her magnetosphere. But the metals in the ground and the oil and everything that's in the ground creates this aura just like it creates it to you. The earth is the same as your body. There is no difference between the earth and your body. It is a aura generating being. The magnetosphere proves it. It protects us from the radiation of space, the magnetosphere, the stratosphere. When you poison the earth with oil drilling and gold and metal and copper, and you steal what's in Mother's Earth, you steal your magnetosphere. Now the solar radiation from the sun is leaking down upon you and it's killing you. UVB radiation, X-ray, and gamma radiation is what your sun has become because of these thieves, these alien invaders, these bankers, these oil tycoons, these gold mines. This is an alien invasion. If you don't believe in UFOs, go visit their mines and their oil drilling platforms. This is an alien invasion. Our whole lives are being invaded by this. And yes, they've got ships and technologies that you are not aware of. They hide the truth. This trinity that I mentioned, the judges, the Pharisees, and the education system steal our mind. This is exactly what they replaced in your life. I am not a hater of anyone. I am not a man of violence or anger. I don't live in fear. I don't fear anyone. If there's a death attempt, someone tries to kill me, I still will preach the word of God. Nothing will stop. When I watch the television, I watch it objectively to see what the enemy's doing only. Nothing else. If I go to the churches, I go to see what they're hiding from us. What are they talking about now? Why aren't they talking about chemtrails and fracking, poisoning the water? Why aren't they talking about smart meters and radiation pumping devices? Why aren't they talking about this stuff? Why don't they talk about the aura? Why don't they talk about this pine cone gland called the pineal gland that enlightens our mind and is a radio frequency signal to Mother Earth, God? It connects through the Schumann resonance of the planet. Why are they putting rubber shoes on us and rubber soles and rubber on our tires to disconnect us from Mother Earth? Even your clothes have colors and toxins and poison. Everything in your life. There is not one job that you can have today. I don't care if you mow lawns or you build homes. You still have to buy your goods from the kings. The smallest, the most menial jobs, you still have to kiss their feet. I can teach, and I know exactly how to take the planet back from this alien invasion and give Mother Earth back her aura. And that aura will connect back to us. We can even bring the cycles and the calendars, the real calendars, back into our lives instead of saying, look, this calendar meant the end of the world on the media, scaring people to death so they live in fear. These calendars are real. The Earth circulates around a galaxy. We move through constellations, and these constellations have energy, and that energy connects to your energy through the constellations, and at birth transforms people's minds. If you're born within that constellation, that is who you are. That is your job. I was born to be a wise teacher. I am on the cusp of Pisces and Aquarius. This is what I was born for. The globalists and the elite know that they have to separate me from the teaching. That's why they're dictating my YouTube videos. They surveillance you and gang stalk you. They don't want you to teach the truth. I was born a teacher. Read my zodiac calendar. Read the Chinese calendar of the snake. I was born in 1965. Read the Mayan calendar about who I am, when I was born, what I am. My opposite of the cross, that's my mate. I have to mate with the opposite of me. The Hindu calendar says Pisces, cusp of Aquarius, is a man or a woman who will highly attract the opposite sex. Fire and earth united. Not only will they highly attract the opposite sex, but they will be leaders. They will be teachers. I not only can be attracted from the Leo, my mate is Leo, But also my mate is Virgo. I'm on the cusp. So at broad spectrums, my alignment, why weren't we taught this at birth? About the energy and the attraction of the calendars, of the stars. This is extremely real. This is not paganism. This is not fiction. This is your energies in your aura, and the opposite attracts exactly who you are in order for you to come together. The opposite attracts. You've heard that. It is realism, because if you're the opposite and I am the opposite, then we carry each other to the center. The center of the Milky Way galaxy is the highest energy on the earth. The center of the calendar is the Milky Way galaxy. It brings you united as one. It centers you. That's the alignment of the cross. That's the real cross. And as you hold your arms out to those opposite sides of that calendar, you connect to these constellations and those constellations. And then you see the Jesus waving his hands, and then you connect to all the constellations. If you were born a teacher, that's who you are. If you were born the lion, that's who you are. And if our education systems knew the truth, they would take the lion and teach the lion what its job is. They would teach the Pisces, the cusp people, what their job is. Pisces, people who were born on the cusp, know not only Pisces, but they also know the Aquarius, the duality of man and the waters and the pure energies of Aquarius of Earth, the wisdom. They have both signs. They're aligned. Michael Jordan was born on the cusp. You saw what kind of a man he was. He can defeat anyone. I was born on the cusp. In my work and in my sport, I was always capable of defeating anyone I wanted. Martial arts, football, and absolutely every corporation I worked for had to lie and change the records just to hide who I was. I've taken over pay plans of men who made $8,000 a month, and I've made $30,000 on the same pay plan they did. And my boss would come to me and say, if I paid you that, I would be fired. He is admitting that there is a dictator out there that will throw up a red flag if they have an extraordinary person within their corporation. He only paid me 13 grand, right above the 50% tax bracket. He paid me based on the safety of not turning me into the masses. Well, why am I being surveillanced? Because I have made these incredible salaries when people had the same salary and they made low salaries. I sent up red flags, and the elite know that I am a conscience being. I'm a teacher, and that I know things that other people don't know. So therefore you're blacklisted. Not only on the internet and on airplanes, you can't hunt, you can't fish. They blacklist you in your community. They go to your neighbors and tell them to hate you. They tell your children to hate you. Mind control is absolutely real. And right now they're spraying nanoparticulates on you to completely control the mind. You have no choice. They'll sell it to you as the mind can move a toy, or the mind can start your car. Well, in reality, what will be is a weapon of mass mind control destruction. That's why every country is spraying chemtrails right now. A complete, globalized, mind-controlling planet. Everything that I told you was the truth. It came from my knees and prayers, and it came from this book. I read books that are old. I don't read books that are online, because they're edited. I have a book that was printed in the 60s, and I use this book. And not only telling you my prayers, my connections, as I was born to be a teacher, and my zodiac, my calendar sign proves I am a wise person. It even says in my calendar that I will try to save the world. Read it. Read February the 19th. Read it. I will have the save the world mentality. That's what I was born to do. This is my job of God. And if everybody were doing their jobs of God, and their relationships and their marriages and their families, then we would all never need anything. We would not need these evil trinities separating us from God. We would not need the judges, preachers, the Pharisees, prophets, and we would not definitely need an education system that doesn't allow God. I love you all. God bless.